Hey guys, and welcome back to Stanley Parable. This is going to be the final part. Let's get into it. This is Jay here. This load screen takes a while. Load the screen. Yeah, it takes a while. Click to skip.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Time's up. It's time to go home. Like, what are you doing staying at home? Staying at work.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Sorry for the glitches. Loading. Yeah, these loading screens takes a while.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
It's already been answered. I'm just getting they want to know that.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Yeah. Violent death. I don't know how.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Loading. This headset picks up almost everything, even my awkward breathing. Which is a good thing, actually.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from his head. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh, wow.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
That's deep. The set of two open doors was the very first complete concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction of this room posed. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors of the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in good time. Stanley's computer. The selection of the sounds used throughout the game was when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of keyboard stroke and synthesized tone. There's his credits. Original music, those people. Computers. This is so awkward without music or anything. The Office. An early version of the maintenance room. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose with the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. It's also making fun of actual soldiers who actually died on the battlefield. War is not a joke. Early version of the lounge. This second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo was actually stored. That does not look. Yeah, that's true. The cargo lift was actually always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to different paths. However, after the third version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to death. We did that the first episode. Department timer. In the previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, the timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. That they should have done that. These levers were originally part of the zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color level they had pulled. I really wish you could pull them. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the zending, which is eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. The zending went through multiple iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it again shortly before launch. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Fortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. For a time, the elevator and the monitor room could go up and down, with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed doing these together instead. That is true. It would be very difficult. This is the freedom ending as it is in better. Freedom. Countdown desk. One of the desks from early version of the countdown ending. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mock-up is still in the game. It's very interesting. The second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of these emails. cannot read that. And I don't really want to read that. That might put people's privacy at risk. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, the second in March 2012, and the third in February 2013. There's so much to explore. This is a great game, by the way. Scenes from the development of the boss's office. His office clock. Early version of the grand portion of the game. First incarnation of the Freedom Meaning Games Alpha. I'll just sell it. Let's just end this. I wonder how I end this. Should know how I did this before. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for the video. No, never mind. One more thing to do. The end is never the end, is never the end.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
I don't know if this copyright. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for the video. Signing off.